A bigger celebration with more spectators. This year's National Day Parade will be open to the public. After a 2-year break, you can set sail to destinations again, starting with Penang and Port Klang. 15 million for him, 2 million for her. A jury rules in favour of Johnny Depp in his case against Amber Heard. Good evening, you're watching The Big Story with me, Haryanto Diman. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you will not miss a single episode. National Day celebrations on a scale comparable to what they were before COVID-19. After 2 years of smaller NDPs, the organising committee is expecting to fill almost every one of these seats at the Marina Bay floating platform on August 9th. It's targeting the upper bounds of the venue's capacity of 25,000 to 26,000. Plus, national education shows for primary 5 pupils and the 2 ticketed previews will return.
This year's National Day celebrations will be larger in scale compared to the last 2 years, and it will be comparable to pre-COVID scale. This year, we want to engage as many Singaporeans as possible through safe, exciting and meaningful celebrations both in the heartlands as well as here at the float at Marina Bay.
Themed Stronger Together Majulah NDP 2022 coincides with the 55th anniversary of National Service, and this will be referenced throughout the August 9th extravaganza, where there will be a combined land, air and sea total defence display. The organising committee also promises that crowd favourites like the Red Lions will be brought back. There's also a heartland twist this year. On the weekend of August 6th and 7th, 5 neighbourhoods will have exhibitions, carnivals, military and police vehicle displays and other performances. The Red Lions will conduct free-fall jumps at 2 heartland areas as well. Cruises to somewhere are returning, with Royal Caribbean's Spectrum of the Seas calling at Malaysia ports from June 30th. Travellers can choose either a 3 or 4 night trip. Now, according to Royal Caribbean's website, 3-night cruises will stop at Penang with prices starting from $310, while 4-night cruises will stop at both Penang and Port Klang, costing from $390 onwards. Meanwhile, Singaporeans can look forward to even more travel options with Jetstar Asia announcing it will operate 11 additional services a week to 6 cities as early as next week. The destinations are Bali, Da Nang, Manila, Penang, Phuket and Phnom Penh. Malaysia will end its price controls for chicken and eggs by July and leave their prices to be determined by market forces. This comes amid Malaysia's chicken supply crunch, which saw retailers selling poultry at up to double the ceiling price of RM890 per kilo. Our Malaysia Bureau Chief tells us what ending this price cap means, how it will affect the export ban, and whether that will expire in July as well.
Well, so from July 1st, suppliers, the marketplace can basically set whatever price they want, and it will just be on a supply and demand basis. So market forces will determine the price of chicken. Now, of course, this will likely mean that prices are going to rise because suppliers have been saying the current ceiling price is way too low for them to produce. So prices in Malaysia will go up, but the government is going to subsidize, or rather direct some cash assistance to Malaysia's poorest. Now, on the export ban, it is a bit of a strange situation because the stated line is that when domestic supply stabilizes, then we will lift the export ban. But when you think about a free floating price for any good, and in this case chicken, then you should also allow imports and exports to flow freely. And we've already done that for imports. There are no longer any need for permits for imports. Anyone can now import chicken in any amount. So it should be the case that we can also export. But a point to know is that if the prices in Malaysia do rise on a free floating basis, it might turn out to be the case that, well, previously we exported to Singapore because the prices were higher in Singapore. It was more lucrative to export to Singapore. But Malaysian demand does increase. Well, it might be the case that the farms, the suppliers, don't actually have to export to Singapore to make up the margins, right? The higher margins. Then it may be left to Singapore, the Singapore market to offer a better price. So I think the export or import restrictions kind of become secondary at that point. It becomes a question of pricing and whether Singaporeans, perhaps after this month of relying more on frozen chicken, are ready to pay more for live chickens instead.
Malaysia's Health Minister, who's in Singapore on an official visit, says he hopes the chicken export ban will be temporary and that the situation is getting better. Here's more from Khairi Jamaluddin.
While countries obviously will look to securing their own food requirements, we also are well aware that we have a responsibility as exporters to our neighbours, including Singapore. I feel that the situation is already improving. We are working together very closely with poultry producers in Malaysia to ensure that they can increase production. We are also looking at substitute feed to ensure that we have affordable feed supply for poultry. Once these things resolve itself, and we hope that it can be resolved very quickly, then of course we hope to resume exports of poultry, including to Singapore. We value our bilateral relationship with Singapore. This is not an easy decision for us to make, so we hope that it is very temporary in nature until the supply and price situation is stabilized.
Mr. Khairi was speaking to media in a wide-ranging Q&A session where he was also asked if a general election in Malaysia is imminent. Voters must go to the polls by September 2023, although many political observers believe an early election this year is highly possible.
Of course, this is entirely the prerogative of the Prime Minister, but what I would like to tell people who are pushing him to have an election is that the Prime Minister said he would not delay 1 second until he feels that we are ready. Readiness means the country needs to be ready, not just in terms of public health. So we have to look out for new variants to make sure that there are new variants, no new waves of infection. Right now it's okay, but I need to be confident that this can sustain. Secondly, that we have wind in the sails of economic recovery, even though we are confronted with some inflationary pressure, but Malaysia is lucky in a sense that we are an oil-producing country, we have palm oil, so we have some engines of growth that are pushing the economy forward, so we want to get momentum there. And third is political. We need to make sure that BN is ready. It's not just the country is ready and that there's a conducive environment for elections, but BN is ready. Is there any real big urgency to have the election? I don't think so.
A quick wrap of today's other headlines. At least 4 people have been killed in a shooting on a hospital campus in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the latest of a series of mass shootings to rattle the US. Police also confirming multiple injuries and that the suspected shooter, who was armed with a rifle and a handgun, is also dead from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. A 7-person jury found both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard liable in their defamation trial, awarding Heard $2 million in damages and Depp $15 million, which the judge reduced to $10.35 million to comply with state limits on punitive damages. In a statement issued after the verdict, Depp says, "The jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled. Speaking the truth was something I owed to my children and to all those who have remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing I have finally accomplished that." Meanwhile, Heard's statement reads, "I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. The excitement is most definitely building just over a week to go before Japan welcomes back tourists on package tours. Joining us is travel correspondent Clara Lock. Clara, are tour agencies seeing a surge in bookings for Japan?
Actually, as early as March, they were already getting inquiries from people asking, when can I go to Japan? How do I go to Japan? Because it's such a popular destination among people in Singapore. And of course, when the news broke, they did get a lot more bookings. But actually, even before that, one travel agency, EU Holidays, held a Japan travel fair last month, and it already received about 100 bookings for tours in the autumn season between September and the end of the year. And this was just people booking preemptively before before it was announced that tour groups would be allowed in. So, that's how high the demand is for people to return to Japan. And another travel agency, JTB, says they anticipate that demand between October and December, which is one of the peak tourist seasons, is likely going to outstrip that of pre-pandemic days from the market in Singapore. So I think, there's going to be lots of people heading there from Singapore in the months to come.
And do you have any tips to help tourists prepare for their trips to Japan?
Well, one thing that everyone's doing right now is changing yen. The yen hit a 20-year low in April. So people are flocking to money changers, or they're doing it online on like e-payment platforms. So for people who are hoping to go, they're definitely shoring up their cash reserves now. Another thing people are doing, free and independent travelers included, is booking flights to Japan. And they're trying to do that because hopefully they can lock down a good price, because flight prices are on kind of the high side right now. So one thing you can do if you hope to travel there in the upcoming months, or maybe even in 2023, is if you can find a good flight, find something with a cancellation policy that will give you a refund or let you change your dates if needed. Same thing for accommodation, find something with a refundable rate. And if you can find a good price, maybe now's the time to lock it down. And if you are going to Japan, you do have a trip coming up. Media reports over there say that the country will probably stick to its mask wearing rules pretty strictly. So prepare for that. But otherwise, I think it's a good time. So be excited.
Clara, great tips there. Travel correspondent Clara Lock. And thanks to the reopening of borders, there's plenty of excitement too in the food and drink scene. Let's find out more from food correspondent Eunice Quek. Eunice, tell us about these pop-ups by guest chefs. They don't come cheap, right?
Well, not quite. The priciest one just ended recently at the Fullerton Bay Hotel. It was 628 for a 6-course meal by Argentinian celebrity chef Francis Mallmann. He's known for barbecuing food over an open fire. So I guess that is an experience that people felt that it was worth paying for. Other pop-up meals hover around maybe $300 to $500 a person, which is about what you would pay at many of the high-end restaurants in Singapore. So I believe what would set the pop-ups apart from these would definitely be delivering a unique experience with maybe new ingredients or creative cooking techniques. And I'm sure many people also would like to see the chefs in action as well.
Now, if say, I'm looking to experience these pop-ups, is there still time for me to make a booking, or is it too late?
No, it's not too late. There are limited seats that are still available for this final month of Indian chef Gagan Anand's residency at the Mandala Club. So it ends on a high with collaboration with 15 other big name chefs in Singapore for each dish on the menu. And so they include Odette's Julien Royer and dessert queen Janice Wong. So you should be in for quite a treat. Similarly, there are limited seats left for California's 3 Michelin-starred restaurant Single Thread, and they come to Singapore in July for 1 month. So that one is known for its fine hospitality as well as Japanese-inspired cuisine. So it's time to save up, as that one costs 498 plus a person for the 7-course menu.
You are right. I will start saving up. Well, thank you so much. That was food correspondent Eunice Quek. And if you need a spark of light in your life, here's a fun idea for families and couples alike. I Light Singapore is back after a 2-year break, featuring 20 light art installations, from electronic fireflies to alien jellyfish and an inflatable whale. They all look really amazing. Well, the event runs from June 3rd to 26th. Those are our top stories today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Haryanto Diman. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.